in. Well, let's
Okay.
check in. We can, in fact, we can start with that one if we're ready to go, just because
Oh, perfect.
All right, good morning. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210th District Court criminal docket for May 3rd, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Mr. Marufo, would you call our first case, please?
On page 1.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. Let's start with Mr. Mills on page 3. So Ms. Bayan and
Okay.
Roa, are you handling this one?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
In cause number 2021 0D0
Yes, I'm in court.
2641, State of Texas versus Philip Daniel Mills. Announcement of counsel, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas. Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
Edie Payan, on behalf of Mr. Mills, we are ready.
Okay, and so we were scheduled, I think, based on the very first trial track for a final hearing plea deadline. I think we're just taking this as a status because we did have an agreement, I think extensive discussion regarding a different trial track, which we have set in October. So if you all have a quick update, we don't have another setting until the end of July. So how are we doing on this one?
Your Honor, as for the state, so we have actually also uploaded on portal the water utilities and the water utilities dispatch. There is a no affidavit that was filed. And we have also received the EPISD records for the defendant, and that's being uploaded to portal. That's as much as we have at this point.
Okay. Ms. Bayan, I'm assuming some of those things were outstanding, if maybe you all had requested them or.
Your Honor, those matters seem to have been as a result of the state subpoena. So thank you, Ms. King, and I'll keep an eye out on portal because there were also some other subpoenas that were issued for today. Some Texas gas service records, EPISD records, electric company records, and some records for Liberty University. And those subpoenas were filed on February 14th for today's date, and they were returned. There's a return from February 14th where they were served via email. So I'm sure Ms. King, as soon as she gets those records, will let me know. It's a state subpoena, so if we don't have them today, that's not the defense's problem. Additionally, Your Honor, the defense did file our notice of insanity March 11th or March 13th. So however the state needs to proceed, hopefully the state will communicate with me so we can keep that flowing because the logistics of that can get complicated. And once the state files that motion, Ms. King, if you could let me know, that way I can file what I need to file and I don't need to be checking portal every day since sometimes the notices don't pop up.
Of course.
Thank you.
So I show that notice being filed on April 13th. Ms. Bayan, I'm wondering, do you all want to come back before the end of July? I mean, I kind of hate to wait until then if we're going to have any issues, but I'll go by you all's gauge.
Your Honor, logistically and procedurally, at this point now it's on the state, because what would need to happen next if the state is going to file their motion to have Mr. Mills evaluated, and then there's a set of motions I need to file pursuant to Sharia Lagron, and I would need to have a hearing to make my record and then have the court rule as to the extent of that examination. So depending on the court's schedule, I would imagine if the court wants to keep this moving before July would be best. But again, it depends on the state's schedule and how they want to proceed with this matter.
So I'll leave it as is because I don't want to be guessing at dates, but I just will rely on you all because I think we're going to have to reconvene before the end of July. So also, if there's anything else outstanding, like I said, just let us know via email with any requests for hearing that are before that July date. And if you need to add anything to that July date, also let us know. Okay?
Great. Thank you. May we be excused? Thank you, Your Honor.
Who's next?
Going back to page 1, Judge, top of the page.
Mm-hmm.
In cause number 2020 0D0 0846, State of Texas versus Andrew Chilson. Announcement of counsel, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Judge, good morning. Jonathan H. Huerta, blessed to be here on behalf of Andrew Chilson.
Okay, we're set for a final hearing plea deadline. Ms. King, what's the rec?
Your Honor, it was 4 years deferred and restitution of $3,319. And per last hearing, I believe defense counsel wanted to file a restitution motion and set for a hearing, but I haven't seen anything yet.
There's been nothing filed, Mr. Huerta?
Your Honor, I'm gonna try to get that paperwork, Judge, but we are going to the annex today to have the plea paperwork filed and in at the same time, if that's okay with the court. We might bypass the restitution paperwork.
Okay, well, we're set for jury trial on Friday, so I need to know by today. Today is the plea deadline.
We're gonna plead today, Judge.
You're gonna plead today?
We're getting it. I'm sorry, Judge. We're gonna get in the plea paperwork today.
So I'm going to set, Mr. Marufo, we're gonna have to reset this for Thursday. And I'm going to go ahead and bring Mr. Chilson over for an in-person plea. Or we'll have it for a final hearing plea deadline, but what I understand you're telling me, Mr. Huerta, is that it is going to be a plea. So we're resetting the final hearing plea deadline for 1 o'clock in person. If that's going to be a plea, then you need to have your plea paperwork turned into the court ahead of time. If it is not, you are going to trial on Friday.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you very much.
And Judge, forgive me, in person for myself as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, who's next?
Hilliard, Judge.
Okay, go ahead.
In cause number 2019-0D00815, State of Texas versus James Edward Hilliard. Announcement of counsel, please.
Well, for the state of Texas.
Good morning, Your Honor. Daniel Marquez on behalf of Mr. Hilliard.
Okay, so we were set for a final hearing plea deadline. Had a lot happen since our last hearing. And so I have, let me see, I don't think I printed out everything. I have defendants, application for writ, and motion to quash the indictment. And then I believe I have the state's motion to amend and a motion for continuance. So I'm just going to go in order of how we received these, or I received these, and that's Mr. Marquez. So you may proceed on both the motion to quash and the application.
Good morning, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mhm.
Your Honor, with respect to the motion to quash and the application, the legal argument is essentially the same. The vehicle for the relief requested is what is different. As the court may have seen in the application for writ of habeas corpus and the case that was attached there as Exhibit E, the ex parte LBR, that case does a very nice job of setting forth the legal framework for the application for writ of habeas corpus with respect to the issue with the indictment here. Your Honor, the issue very simply is that there is no tolling language in the indictment. Now, in the cases that I've seen, because this is a very unique issue, having a indictment with a charge from 30 years ago, most of the cases that I see that look at the necessity for tolling language under 12.05 focus on 12.05B, which is when there are subsequent informations and indictments, things that are pending when a new indictment is issued. In this case, the issue is the tolling language with respect to 12.05A, and that is the only way that the state could rely upon the tolling of the statute of limitations in this matter, which is that during the time which the accused is absent from the state shall not be computed in the period of limitation. It's not 12.05B or C, it's 12.05A, but there's no tolling language with respect to anything. And so the legal argument is that there is no tolling language there. the objection or exception to the substance of an indictment requires that on its face, if it's barred by the lapse of time, then the indictment is objectionable before trial. And so we are asserting that. The only thing that I would add to the motion, Your Honor, legally is that it's asserted under the US Constitution, the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment, as well as sections. Give me one moment, please. Articles 10 and 19 of the Texas Constitution as well.
Okay. Ms. King, do you have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. So I believe we are all aware of the tolling, that once a case is indicted, then the statute is tolled. However, I believe here, from my understanding, defense counsel is alleging that the statute of limitation have already lapsed because of the date of offense was around 1990. And back in 1990, before September 1st of 1991, for this type of charge, it would only allow 10 years from the date of offense. However, the incident did not stop until 1997, which is why the state did file a motion to amend the indictment, because the statute did change effective September 1st, I believe, of 1991. So long as the allegations were occurring during—
Do you mean September 1st, 97?
The statute changed September 1st, 1991, that in these type of charges, there is no longer this 10 years of statute of limitation for this type of charge. And so, but the allegations did not stop until 1997. So long as the allegations occurred while the old statute was in effect, and it was also in effect while the new statute came into place and afterwards, then that still applies. There is no 10 years statute of limitation.
Mr. Marquez? You're muted.
So if I understand the state's position correctly, Your Honor, it's that there is an issue with the face of the indictment as indicted right now, which requires an amendment to overcome that issue with the statute of limitations to this date of 1997. So I would say that if the state is conceding that there's an issue with the face of the indictment, that the motion is well taken, that it is time barred, and that it does not contain the tolling language. With respect to the state's position on its amendment, its motion to amend, which it sounds like that's part of its response here too. I would say this, Your Honor, is that if it is amended as they are requesting, I think that there are issues with that, significant issues with that. I think that would also result with in similar motions.
So how is it that, I mean, based on the indictment that we have here, how is it that, I mean, without the amendment, and I'm not getting to the substance on the motion to amend yet, how is it that that indictment is not barred by limitations? I mean, it was 10 years. As indicted, the statute of limitations is 10 years. Am I misreading that, Ms. King?
Your Honor, so can you, okay, I apologize. The indictment is alleging a time frame, and that time frame between December 1991, or I apologize, January 1991 to December 1992. It is not told because the statute of limitation for that only puts 10 years on these type of charges. That law changed as of September 1st, 1991. So all the motion to amend the indictment is to just focus on a year. However, when the statute was changed, the statute of limitation for that only puts 10 years on these type of charges. That law changed as of September 1st, 1991. So all the motion to amend the indictment is to just focus on a year. However, when the statute was changed, the statute of limitation for that only puts 10 years on these type of charges. That law changed as of September 1st, 1991. So all the motion to amend the indictment is to just focus on a year. However, whenever that statute does not apply, what defense counsel is alleging. As long as the allegations occurred before the statute was in effect, and then after the statute was became ineffective and this new statute came into effect, then then you don't have the 10 years problem anymore.
So I don't see the tolling. I don't see the tolling. I see, from what I'm reviewing and what I reviewed yesterday, I mean, to me, it appears the statute has run. The 10 years is the limit. I'm not sure where that date, where you're getting the September 1st, 2001, Ms. King. I mean, not 2001, 1991.
Can
you help me out on that? I mean, what I am seeing is, let's see, that there was some changes in the statute between 91 going into 2001, but I can't see, based on the indictment that you have here, that gets you beyond the 10 years. So let's see. In 87, it's extended from 5 years to 10 years. In 97, it was extended again to 10 years from the victim's 18th birthday, right?
Right.
That was in 1997. So conceivably, that would be possibly a way to get beyond the 10 years. And so how does this fall into that? Any of those? I mean, I just don't see it. I see this as being a 10-year statute of limitations.
Your Honor, the allegation was not until 1997.
I know that's what you're asking to add through the motion to amend, right? I think that's what.
I'm trying to find this statute section.
And even then, let's see. Even then, that puts us in a category. Let me make sure I have the right 97. So 9187 to 83197. It still shows, right, if I'm not mistaken, a statute of limitations of 10 years, unless it falls under that other exception.
Other exception, as long as the allegations occurred under the age of 17.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So if we count the date of birth, she would have turned 17, 2000 and.
So where I think, and that was a question I had, I think for offenses, let me see. Two things are certain. All offenses involving complainants who turned 28 prior to September 1, 2007 are barred unless they occurred after September 1st, 1987, and then fit some other criteria. I don't think that's the case here. Yeah, I'm really not seeing it even with the motion to amend.
Your Honor, I do have the penal code from 1992, and it does state that let me see. That the change in the law was made by this act applies to any offense that's committed on or after the allegation. So if it occurred in 19, so it occurred between 1991, 90 or 91, as long as it's on or after, I'm not.
Okay, Mr. Marcus, what's your position on the motion to amend?
Your Honor, we would oppose the motion to amend. And as well as I mentioned previously, I think if amended, it would result in similar motions being brought before the court, as well as there's going to be other issues there as well. But I think with respect to the legal issues, it raises the same legal issues. And I don't think it solves the statute of limitations.
Tell me why.
Well, if we look at the 1997, Your Honor,
Mm-hmm.
10 years from the 18th birthday of the victim of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So the birth date is November 4th of 1984, which means 18 years old, November 4th of 2002.
Mm-hmm.
10 years from that date would be November 4th of 2012. The indictment did not occur until 2019. And so I still think there's an issue there. It doesn't fall within that framework.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your Honor, Mr. Marquez alludes to 1997. I'm not seeing, because it does fall under the the exception where anything that occurred and any allegation under the age of 17 is not barred by the 10-year statute of limitation, and that law came into effect that September 1st, 1991.
I don't see that. If you could direct me to that, I'm not.
Oh, I don't. I agree with Mr. Marcus. I don't. When you keep mentioning 1991, Ms. King, I don't see that.
I had it 1 second ago.
Mm-hmm.
Should be 21 point. Your Honor, I'm trying to find the subsection. I know it's under 21.11 of the penal code.
While you're looking that up, Ms. King, Mr. Marcus, we also have a motion for continuance by the state. Did review that. I believe it was filed yesterday. What's your position on the motion for continuance?
Your Honor, we would oppose. If the court would like to hear argument on it, I can present our arguments as to why we oppose, but we would oppose.
Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, with respect to the motion for continuance, the basis initially is that the complaining witness, Jasmine Crittenden is not a complaining witness in this matter. She is not the witness or victim identified in the indictment. She's not identified in the amended indictment. She's not a complaining witness. In there, the state's basis is that there's new information that's come to light and a paternity test, and that this could hinder the case for both sides, or maybe the case hinges on this new information. Your Honor, this is all very speculative. It's very mysterious, you know, what and how this plays into the state's case in this case and its presentation. As far back as February, the state was informing myself and the court that Ms. Crittenden would not be called as a witness in this case.
Let me just stop you. I was going to say that at our last hearing, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, is this the individual that I know there was a specific question and there was a representation by the state that this person would not be called. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor. And that's what I was getting at. As recently as last week, it's the same person that the state indicated would not be called. From the state's representations in prior hearings, it sounds like they had been in touch with Ms. Crittenden since February or around that time, trying to discuss her participation in the case. So it's unclear how this new information just popped up and what its relevancy is here. I will say that I do have some concerns underlying the basis for the motion for continuance as put forth by the state, because I've been checking the case file every day preparing for trial. I don't see any subpoenas that have been issued for witnesses. I don't see and there's been supplemental witness lists that have been sent out, and there's witnesses identified from the complaining witness in this case on the indictment from New York, witnesses outside of the area but within Texas, witnesses in Alabama and Arizona. And so
okay. So there are so many issues that we still need to address, and I think it's going to require a little more time. So rather than rush through several of the outstanding issues, I'm going to order that we continue our final hearing plea deadline for today at 1 p.m. I want it to be in person. Mr. Marquez, are you able to get down to the courthouse?
Your Honor, I am. However, this afternoon, I had misspoke yesterday when I talked to Ms. Hernandez. I have a telephonic hearing at 1:30 on a case out of New Mexico, and those are on trailing dockets. So it may take me an hour and a half on that one. I am free after that. I'm free all day tomorrow. I can get down to the courthouse in person, but I can try. What I can try and do, Your Honor, is try and get somebody to cover for me this afternoon in New Mexico on that. It's a pretrial hearing, so I might be able to do that.
Let's see if we can manage something like that. And if not, if we need to take a minute while we're here for you to access that hearing, I don't know. We have other things on the docket this afternoon. Otherwise, I would extend, later in the afternoon, but our jail docket is today. So if I can, I don't have a problem coming in sooner. If you want to come in at 12:30, we can accommodate that as well. It's just, I think we have several outstanding issues, and you all were kind of top of the list in terms of the special setting this week. So I don't want to delay a decision on this, but I do want to make sure we go through everything thoroughly. And so if you all, if you don't have a problem, we'll do 12:30.
I can do 12:30.
Ms. King, and we'll try and wrap things up, Ms. King, this morning so you can get to that. So let's do that. Let's reconvene at 12:30 in the courtroom, and we'll work on these outstanding motions For now, status quo. We'll see you at 12:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to the next one, Mr. Marufo.
We have an interpreter here. Do you want to do that case, Judge?
Sure.
On page 7, top of page 7.
Okay.
In cause number 2020-0D04117, State of Texas versus Edgar Ulises Oliva Smith. Announce on council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
So where is our defendant?
I believe it's this one, Judge. Bringing him in right now.
Can you please restate the defendant's name? I couldn't hear that.
Edgar Ulises Olivas.
I have Edgar Smith Olivas. Is that the same case?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So before we get started, we need to go ahead and allow the interpreter time to set up. Good morning, Ms. Garza.
Good morning, Judge.
Working on it.
Is Mr. Olivas in already?
Yes.
Señor Olivas, buenos días, ¿me escucha? ¿Puede prender su micrófono, por favor?
Los auriculares.
En un momentito, ¿está usando usted un celular?
¿Mande?
¿Está usando un celular?
Sí, en mi celular.
Ok, entonces, si toca la pantalla, deben de salir.
3, a ver. Aquí está el idioma. Español. Ok. ¿Le pongo silenciar el audio original?
So I believe that's to you. We need to turn off the interpretation function. Is that right, Ms. Garza? Yes. So if you'll turn it off, Mr. Marufo.
Should be off, Judge.
Okay, go. I think I still see it, but I don't know. Ms. Garza? Yeah, it's not off yet.
Thank you. Ok, señor Olivas, entonces, en un segundito van a aprender la función de interpretación otra vez. Lo que tiene que hacer es seleccionar esos 3 puntitos que dicen more o más. Y en esos 3 puntitos, todavía no está listo porque tienen que prenderlo, pero ya cuando lo prendan no me va a escuchar hasta que seleccione español. Entonces, selecciona los 3 puntitos que dicen more o más y después va a seleccionar interpretación de idiomas o language interpretation y después va a seleccionar español. ¿De acuerdo?
Okay. Ah.
Ok, Mr. Marufo, can you turn it on, please? Ya lo van a aprender en un segundito.
Ok, interpretación de idiomas, ¿va? Español. Listo. Sí, se lo escucho.
Okay, Mr. Marufo, go ahead.
In cause number 2020-0D0.
I can't hear you, Mr. Marufo, so you need to select English.
In cause number 2020-0D04117, State of Texas versus Edgar Ulises Oliva Smith. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Brent Stevens. For
Mr. Stevens, I
Olivas.
also can't hear you, so you need to speak English. I mean, you need to select English.
I apologize. I thought I did select English.
I know you can speak English, but go ahead.
Brent Stevens for Mr. Olivas, Your Honor.
And Mr. Oliva Smith is appearing remotely as well, utilizing the assistance of a court interpreter. We are scheduled for a status conference today. I had your client ordered your client to appear remotely today. Is this one, Mr. Stevens, that we had some type of communication issue, or what was the issue?
It is communication, Judge, and it's because we've contacted all the phone numbers, addresses that we have. We've contacted the bondsman, and we've had no contact with Mr. Olivas at all.
Okay. Mr. Olivas, you're hearing your attorney, part of the issue, and I know he and his office puts forth quite a bit of effort when there are issues. The court allowed your attorney one additional setting to try and locate you, but ultimately it's your responsibility to maintain current contact information with your attorney. Mr. Marufo, had he checked in with the court?
Yes, Judge, yes.
Okay, so that's a good thing, Mr. Olivas. But when I hear from an attorney that they have lost contact with their client, obviously that brings me concern because he cannot work on your case. And ultimately, I know we're not looking at a trial date until November, but Mr. Stevens, has he provided you this new contact information?
No, Your Honor, we haven't had any contact with Mr. Olivas.
Mr. Olivas, what's the issue?
Me robaron mi teléfono. Me robaron mi teléfono y ahorita traigo el teléfono de mi esposa, pero es número mexicano.
Okay. Mr. Stevens, if you would please provide Mr. Olivas your office contact information now. Mr. Olivas, I know if you're using a different phone, one way or another, you need to get in contact with your attorney. If he comes back and maybe seeks to withdraw or something of that nature, it's only going to delay your case. And ultimately, it may lead me to think that you are,
No estoy interesado en el caso.
in English, I would say, MIA.
Les pido una disculpa. Le pido una disculpa.
I'm sorry, Ms. Garza, I didn't catch all of that. Okay. So, Mr. Stevens, if you would please provide him the contact number, Mr. Olivas, I'm ordering you to immediately contact your attorney. We have a status hearing on June 2nd. If the circumstances don't change, Mr. Stevens, I'm missing quite a bit of I think what he's saying, Ms. Garza, I don't know. Okay. Mr. Stevens, would you provide him your contact info, please?
Yes, our phone number is 915-546.
Espera un poquito.
8185.
Teléfono. Wait, give me that moment,
Yes, ma'am. 915-546-8185.
Sí. 546.
Your attorney's name is
81.
Brent Stevens.
But that is going to change,
85,
Judge.
Stevens.
Well, I'll rely on you
Brent
all
Stevens?
to square
Okay.
that away with him. Do you know who it is going to be?
It's going to be Myrna Pages.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Olivas, those are the two
Oh, okay.
attorneys that are in charge of your case. You're to contact them immediately.
Okay.
If at our next hearing on June 2nd, we continue to have this issue, Mr. Stevens, please let Ms. Pages know to let me know. He's been checking in here, so obviously no orders, no shows, things like that, but we need to get things moving.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
okay,
Smith,
sí. Mil
contact
disculpas.
the Public Defender's Office. Again, Mr. Stevens and Ms. Pages are your attorneys. All right. Anything else on this one, Mr. Stevens?
No, Your Honor, I think that will do it.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Gracias,
Mr.
disculpa,
Olivas, you're
disculpe.
excused.
Okay, muchas
All right.
gracias, disculpen.
Thank you so much and sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you, Garza.
Is there anything else for the interpreter, Your Honor?
Mr. Marufo, anyone else?
No, Judge.
Anyone else need an interpreter?
No,
All right.
Judge.
Let's get moving on the final hearing plea deadlines.
And the interpreter be excused, Your Honor.
Sorry,
Thank
Judge.
you, Ms. Garza. Have a good day.
Sorry,
Thank
Judge.
you,
I
you
think
too.
I need one, Your Honor. Ma'am?
Oh,
Sorry.
who's that? Ms.
Yeah.
Garza?
I think I think Luis Gonzalez needs one. It's a review, Your Honor.
Is he here? Let's bring him in. Sorry, Ms.
Mm,
Garza.
No, he's not here, Judge.
What's his name?
Luis
Gonzalez.
Fernando
I could,
Gonzalez on page 6, Judge.
Okay, if we don't have your client here, if you can get him to log in, but I'm not gonna hold Ms. Garza.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. They can always call back whenever they're ready, Your Honor, and see if we're available.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, next final hearing plea deadline.
Going back to page 1, Judge,
Yes,
in cause number 2021-0D02211, State of Texas versus Darren Alvin Fry. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Good morning, Your Honor. Louis Lopez on behalf of Mr. Fry, ready?
okay, final hearing plea deadline, Ms. King, what's the rec?
Your Honor, it's going to be 4 years deferred.
Okay, Mr. Lopez?
Oh, we're going to decline that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, we
My
have two
apologies.
panels. We have two panels ready for Friday. So it's a panel of 60 in the morning and 60 in the afternoon. I think we're slightly under that, something like 56 or 57 for each panel. But we'll go ahead and send you the jury sheets. Thank you very much.
Your Honor, I have several of Mr. Fry's family that are out of town. They're out of the state, and I'm going to need time to get them. I do apologize. I know you like to have continuances filed way prior to, but I will be filing a motion to continue the trial only because I need those witnesses for should we lose.
Well,
And
why
I
have
won't be able to get them
filed-
here in time.
why haven't you filed your motion? I mean, it doesn't sound to me like there was ever an agreement here on this trial. So
No, I understand completely, Your Honor. It's just that we had a trial also set that was older than this case in the 120th. And in fact, I've been told it's going to be dismissed, but I've not been told for sure. And that's why, Your Honor, that case has been pending for almost a year and a half and close to 2 years. And it involves a DACA recipient, so we can't plea on that. That's why I don't know if that case is going to go or not for sure. I'm about 80 to 85% that it won't, but that's why I just did not want to be in it. Did not think we'd be going to trial this case.
If you have a motion for continuance, you're correct. It should have been filed well ahead of time. This final hearing plea deadline has been on the calendar at least probably since the arraignment, which is October of last year. If you have a motion, contact the state, find out what their position is. Again, we have a jury, 2 juries, 3 panels set for Friday. So please file it.
Yes, ma'am. I'll get on that right now.
Thank you very much.
Ms. King, is your email address r.king or is it r.king?
It's r.king.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Judge.
Who's next?
Bottom of page 2, Judge,
Go ahead.
in cause number 2020-0D02702, State of Texas versus Julian Lopez. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Omar Minus for the defendant, Your Honor. Are we ready?
Okay, final hearing plea deadline. I believe, Mr. Minus, you had filed a motion for continuance, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and the basis of the motion was?
Your Honor, I need there is some issues that are identified in preparation. I really need to do some research on the witnesses that can appear, and whether or not I need to find out if this he's going to be tried as a co-defendant. That issue hasn't been resolved.
Okay, Ms. King, what is your position on the motion for continuance? Is this one that we had previously discussed? I'm sorry, Mr. Minus, I keep muting you because there's significant background noise that's difficult to hear. Is this one we had previously discussed? I thought we had, and if so, are you opposed to it, Ms. King?
Your Honor, I believe so. This is the one that has another, it's not a co-defendant, but it is a second defendant with the same complaining witness on
Correct.
another case.
That's Mr. Roberts' client.
Yes, the state is not opposed to the continuance. However, I did receive an email from defense counsel if the state would oppose actually sending this case to go after the other case with the other defendant, and the state will oppose that.
Okay, we have a backup trial date. For purposes of Mr. Minus's motion for continuance today, it being unopposed, that will be granted. We do have a backup trial date. So I don't know if you're going to take issue with that, but Mr. Minus, do not wait until July 12th, the final hearing plea deadline, to file something if you need. All right, so this one will be,
Yes, Your Honor.
we'll forego this week's trial setting and go to the backup date. All righty?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Minus. Thank you, Ms. King. Who's next?
Top of page 2, Judge. Let me bring in Mr. Hall.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Good morning, Judge. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Good to see you.
You too.
All righty. Where's Mr. Hall?
In cause number 2021-0D00237 and 2020-0D01314 and 2019-0D02396, State of Texas versus Marcus Allen Hall. Announcement of counsel, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
John Williams for Marcus Hull. I am not ready, Judge. I was just apparently appointed to this case last week.
Correct.
So we just received Mr. Hull's information this morning, and I need some time to review the files, get with Ms. King, and get with my client.
Sure. And basically, I just wanted to keep the setting, Mr. Williams, because I know we had a late issue with the public defender's office, and we basically need to restart this case. However, I know it's been pending for a minute, and so I don't want to put us into 2023. So we'll get you, Myrna, are you there? Can you give me a good trial date? Thinking October. We should have some open dates then. That is what we're going to do, Mr. Williams. I'll get you an exact date with the slate of settings for all of his cases, all 3 cases. Miss, you have spoken with Mr. Hull. I see he's there, but he's not turned on his camera.
My office got him here this morning, Judge.
Okay.
But I haven't actually spoken to him.
All righty. Well, we'll get you a new trial track. I'm thinking mid to late October, and we'll go from there. Monday, Miss Merton.
It looks like October 14th is good.
Let's do that. October 14th. So October 14th for trial. That will be an October 11th final hearing plea deadline. Anything that requires a hearing in the interim, Mr. Williams, please let us know, and we will get you scheduled outside of the regular dates.
Beautiful. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Myrna.
Thank you. And Mr. Hall, good to see you. Mr. Hall doesn't need to check in on hearing date, just that Monday before hearing date, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Take care. Who's next?
Middle of page 3, Judge.
Go ahead.
In cause number 2021-0D01936, State of Texas versus Sidina Tom Mobley. Announcement of counsel, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
And good morning, Your Honor. Denise Butterworth on behalf of Ms. Mobley.
Good morning. We're scheduled for a final judges conference jury trial in a few weeks. How are we doing? What's going on?
Your Honor, I'm having a lot of difficult time trying to contact actually my complaining witness. And I did kind of inform Ms. Butterworth a couple of minutes ago. I'm trying to contact the complaining witness due to the severity of the medical records or the injuries. So that's where we are.
Okay, well, thanks for letting us know, I guess, but I don't know what, we've got our final hearing plea deadline, May 31st. Ms. Butterworth, do you have something, or does anybody have anything else we need to address before we get there?
No, I had told Ms. King that I would not object if she needed more time. I believe this is our first trial setting for my client, and this is it's a very weird, bizarre fact pattern. Okay. So I'm still hoping that there's continued negotiation. If we can't resolve it, it will be a trial. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping that the June setting is not one that we would need to go on.
If the state is if what you're really doing, Ms. King, is asking me for a continuance right now, just because we're so close to the date and there's a lot of work to be done, file your motion. I'm hearing from Ms. Butterworth that she's not opposed. If it's agreed, put it on there. For now, honestly, I just assume if that's where we're headed, to give you your backup trial date. And hearing that October 14th is a good date, it sounds good to me too. So we'll add a backup trial date of October 14th.
Okay.
With the October 11th final hearing plea deadline. But I do want a motion for the state, even if it's agreed. And that way we just cancel your May 31st and June 6th, June 3rd settings. Okay.
I will file that.
Sounds good.
When I see it, I'll do it. Otherwise, the settings will stay the same. Okie doke. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Take care.
You too. Who's next?
Top of page 4, Judge.
Okay, go ahead.
In cause number 2021-0D02388, State of Texas versus Abel Olivas. Announcement of council, please.
Laura King for the state of Texas.
Anthony Gonzalez on behalf of Mr. Olivas.
Okay, this is a final judges. Anything you all needed to address the court or put on the record?
Yeah, Judge, the last time we had a hearing, I informed the court that I had no contact with my client. I made every effort possible to contact him. I've done so since then, and just a couple of days ago called PR to make sure that they were having the same issue I do. And absolutely, the man has kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. He evidently resides in New Mexico somewhere, and just no contact whatsoever with him.
Has he ever checked in, Mr. Marufo?
No, Judge.
Okay, so he's on PR bond. I don't recall receiving a negative report. In fact, everyone that PR sent me a report on was good. So let me double check something. All right. Myrna, if you will email PR bond on Mr. Abel Olivas.
Yes, ma'am.
Because they did not send me a report on him. Maybe they've sent me one in the past if this has been an ongoing issue, but I do see that as early as the beginning of this year, he was in jail on a PR revo. So if we're having the continuing issue, then they need to send me a notice of violation ASAP. And let them know he hasn't checked into court as well. All right, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. We'll keep our dates, but that's just for my
Understood.
purposes.
Understood, Judge. Thank you very much.
Mr.
Thank
Gonzalez
you.
has another one, Judge. On
Who is
page
it?
6. Bottom of page 6.
Go
I
ahead.
didn't know that. What is it?
It's for Mr. Romero, and he's in the rating. Albert Romero. In cause number 2013-0D01511, State of Texas versus Albert Romero. Announcement of council.
Laura King for the state of Texas.
Judge, I'm not familiar with the case at all.
So hold on one second. Is this one that is it just showing up on the docket? I mean, it's a probation status hearing, so it may not, it may not, there's no attorney listed on Odyssey. You might have represented him before, Mr. Gonzalez.
Perhaps, Judge.
Okay.
It's not familiar.
Thank you very much. You're good to go.
Thank you, Judge.
So let's hold off on that one. Can we please finish up the final hearing plea deadlines?
Second on page 5, Judge.
Okay.
In cause number 2021-0D00758, State of Texas versus Alex Anthony Rodriguez. Announcement of council, please.
Laura King for the state of Texas.
Alex Shawala for Mr. Rodriguez. We're ready.
Okay, so this is a final judges conference. Do you all have anything you need on the record?
Nothing on the record. I mean, I would just by way of touching base with the prosecution, I don't understand why this is set for trial. They're literally in the reports, in the videos. No one alleges that my client did anything to the complainant in this case. They say the sister came up and attacked her. My guy's just in the car. I don't know why we're set for trial. I'm happy to try it. I think it'll be a very short trial, but I don't know if you have something that I'm not seeing or what.
Ms. King, have you looked at it?
Yes, Your Honor, I have, and I can actually call you maybe later today or send you an
Okay.
email with my,
Okay.
what I'm seeing.
Okay.
All righty.
I'll look for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chawala. If you don't have anything else, you're excused. Thank you, Ms. King.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to final hearing plea deadlines, please. It looks like all of page 5 is a final hearing plea deadline.
We also have one on page 3, Judge. Bottom of page 3.
Go ahead.
In cause number 2020-0D01004, State of Texas versus Armando Nevares. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
February Bobbin for Mr. Nevares, Judge.
Okay, final hearing plea deadline. What's the rec?
Your Honor, it's 12 years TDC, and I sent the plea paperwork to defense counsel this morning.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so I know this one has been outstanding for quite a bit. It gives me, if we have an agreement, Missy Bobbin, how much time do we need to get him signed up?
I can work on that this week, Judge.
Okay, let me, just because I know our jail docket is really full next week. We're gonna put you 2 weeks out. So today is the 3rd. We're gonna put you for May 17th. That's gonna be a reset of the final hearing plea deadline at 3 p.m. Anticipate that will be a plea once we receive the plea papers, okay?
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you for all your work on this. I know he's probably time-wise on top of my list, so thank you very much.
Judge.
Who's next?
Going back to page 5, Judge.
Go ahead.
In cause number 2020-0D02708, State of Texas versus Juan Alberto Sosa Olvera. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
And Myrna Pages for Mr. Sosa Olvera.
Final hearing plea deadline. Sorry, Ms. Pages. What's the rec?
Your Honor, it's gonna be, it's uploading.
Sure.
I believe this was always going to be a trial, but the rec will stay as 6 years deferred.
Okay, Ms. Pages.
We are respectfully declining that, Judge.
Okay, so we need to get you all plea papers, jury sheets. This is one I don't imagine. Do you all want, we have 4 panels. Can we do it with 2?
I would say so.
So Myrna, what I have is 2 panels on Friday of up to 60. I think we're just below 60 for each panel. We'll do that on Friday. So we'll have one in the morning and one in the afternoon. But other than that, we're good to go. It'll be here in this courtroom. So we'll get you the jury sheets, okay?
Judge, and my client would need an interpreter.
Okay. So Marufo, if we'll make sure that we have an interpreter for trial starting on Friday.
Yes, Judge.
All righty. Let me know if anything comes up that we need to address before then. We have Thursday conceivably. All righty. So this is a jury trial. Thank you very much. All right. Who's next?
In cause number 2019-0D06014, State of Texas versus Nicole Stamps. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Hi, good morning, Brent Stevens from Stamps.
Okay, final hearing plea deadline. What's the rec?
Your Honor, this has always been restitution, and that amount was 800 for dismissal. I do believe last hearing she only had $350.
Okay, any movement, Mr. Stevens?
Judge, Ms. King and I have been talking about the case this week. I was able to talk to my client this morning. She called at 9:45 from a new phone number, so I was able to communicate with her. She has $400.
So we're making some incremental improvement, right? This is not going to be a trial this week. So what I will do though is kind of keep her, I hate to do that, but if the restitution is going to take care of it, we're going to do a June 17th trial setting, June 14th, final hearing plea deadline.
Okay, thank you, Judge. And I'll let her know her dad is also filing for taxes, so she may come up with the money hopefully soon.
Tell
Ms.
her
King.
that's her last shot. Get the money in.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Take care. Who's next?
In cause number 2020-0D01784, State of Texas versus Demi Alexa Guevara. Announcement of council, please.
Well, it came from the state of Texas.
Bill Hicks for Demi Guevara.
Final hearing plea deadline. Reset this one a couple of times. Where are we?
Judge, as predicted, we have reached a plea agreement. So set us for a plea.
Okay, do we have plea papers?
No, we got the words this morning, so we'll need to get the plea papers sent to us and get us set.
Okay, so I'm going to reset the final hearing plea deadline for 2 weeks. Judges, if as soon as you get her signed up, if it's before then, please let us know so we can get you scheduled. We'll do a plea center plea unless you want to do it in person. But please have it done before that 2 weeks, okay?
Sounds great, Judge. Thank you.
Take care. Who's
You too.
next?
Top of
We have-
page 6, Judge.
No. What happened to, is Mario Ortiz not here?
No, ma'am, I've contacted his office and they said they were gonna tell him to log in.
Judge,
right
I've been
here.
here.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see.
Top of page 5.
In cause number 2021-0D00286, State of Texas versus Juan Carlos Ramos Aguilera. Announcement of council, please.
Robert King for the state of Texas.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mario Ortiz Saroldi on behalf of the defendant, Mr. Aguilera.
Good morning. Final hearing plea deadline. What's the rec, Ms. King?
Your Honor, it was going to be 10 deferred, and I'm not sure if they're still looking through, if Mr. Ortiz is still looking through the phone extraction on this case.
Your Honor, I did receive some additional digital discovery from that phone extraction a little over a month ago. I'm having someone review it, digital expert, and I would just need a couple more weeks for that to be concluded, Judge.
Okay, August, let's look at an August trial setting. Myrna, do we have a good date? Oh, sorry. For August, she's with somebody. Myrna, sorry. Can you look at some trial settings in August, please?
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking August 26th, but let me just make sure we don't have anything that's too crazy. Mr. Ortiz, how does your schedule look?
Double check, Judge, if I may.
Mhm.
Judge, the 19th only has 4.
Mhm. What about the 26th?
There's 2 listed on the 26th.
Yeah, I'm thinking the 26th because we have something for August 11th and 12th that might be longer.
I'm good, Judge, on the
Okay.
26th.
We'll do that. So August 26th will be the reset of the trial. August 23rd, final hearing plea deadline.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. King. All right. Who's next?
Top of page 6, Judge.
Uh-huh.
But Mr. Romero is not here, Judge.
Okay, let's get on the record.
In cause number 2019-0D00361, State of Texas versus Marcos Romero III. Announcement of council, please.
Robert King for the state of Texas.
Morning, Your Honor. Jose Montes for Mr. Romero.
Okay, I do have a notation here that your client was to appear via Zoom, Mr. Montes. What was the issue we were having? Is this something?
Your Honor, I spoke to him last night and he acknowledged that Mr. Marufo had told him to log on and he said he would. I've texted him a couple of times. My secretary's calling him. I don't have any other explanation.
Okay. For my purposes, he's been in contact with you, Mr. Montes?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to forego any action at this time, but I will require that he be here for the final hearing plea deadline on June 7th. If you're in contact with him, let him know he has a jury trial on June 10th, and if he's not working it out, he's going to trial.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All righty. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, Mr. Montes. Take care.
Excuse, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break before we hit. Is there